Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a sixth sense for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chain. Can't control me. I got the power.
This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name's the Indie Kid coming at you. We're coming at you with a look into Rick Barnes. Rick Barnes, where can he get Tennessee? Where are they at now? What can they get to? Rick Barnes is going to finish out his contract and his tenure at Tennessee. I know he has 3 years left on his contract. He'll definitely finish that out. Does he decide to retire at that point? Does he move on? Is going to be the big question then. But before we get into that, you guys know the drill. Smash that like button. Subscribe. No weekly football live shows are imminent. None scheduled going forward. And now if any news breaks, any big news, Boogie will send out the promotional material for that. But Dauber and I will be live Wednesday night after the Tennessee Ole Miss game. Videos will be coming about football throughout the week as well. I'll have an Ole Miss preview later on in the week after this as well. But the big question a lot of times with Rick Barnes, and especially comes to the forefront every time Tennessee loses a game, is where can he get this team? Again, one of the great coach, great history. According to the stats, 735 wins, 388 losses. He's a 65% winning coach. For his Tennessee run so far, 131-75, so he's just shy of 64%. Each year, there was improvement around the board. First year, he was 15-19, then 16-16. Then things really started to take off. 26-9, tied for the SEC championship regular season. The next year, 31-6 on the season, but tied for second in the conference. And then that's when you add Williams, Schofield, those guys either left early or graduated. Tennessee dropped 17-14 in a COVID shortened year, 18-9 last year, and then currently on the season, they are 8-3 right now. So where does this team go from here? What's the next step? So the pros of it is, with Barnes, this is going to be a tournament team. I feel confident in saying that. Now, it got a little iffy last year, but we know with Barnes' teams, he's going to focus on defense, and that's something we'll hit here in a minute as well. He is very defense-oriented. Guys are not playing over defense, but there's some contradictions there as well, as evidence from the Alabama game this past week. But what is Rick Barnes' ceiling at Tennessee? I think he had, one Final Four at Texas? Tennessee's never been to a Final Four before. I don't know that – it'd be nice to get there, but are the odds there Rick Barnes gets his team to the Final Four? I can't say that they are, and especially this year, the way this team's built, I think it would require them playing without a doubt their best basketball at the end of the year. Hitting shots, everything fluid and in motion to get there. Now, is it okay to just have a coach who gets you to the tournament every year, wins, maybe gets you to a second weekend? Maybe I think that's fine. It's basically what Tennessee's basketball history has been. Yes, I would like to see him win an SEC championship. I said it last year, and got called, well, you said championships aren't important. I said at that time that an SEC tournament championship for last year's team was not a priority. SEC tournaments, not in basketball, baseball, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, really don't matter. Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if they win one, but does it really matter? Would Mississippi State have rather have had that SEC championship in baseball, or would they have rather had their 2 and out where they got run rolled in the tournament twice and then turn around and win the national championship? You tell me. It's common sense on that grand scheme of things. Yes, a lot of times with basketball, if you're winning a conference championship, that means you're playing your basketball at the right time, and teams have gone on for good runs. Yeah, I would like to see that, but sometimes maybe a team needs the rest more than they need to play game after game after game on a weekend, up to maybe 5 games back to back. That takes a toll, especially if you're trying to get to the tournament. But a conference championship, a regular season, I think is a bigger deal than a tournament championship. That's my opinion. I think that's bigger. Yeah, again, it'd be cool to see them win that. But this team, one thing I think with the current team this year, I think they've got better point guard play. And, you know, I'll give them credit. They come up short. It was frustrating the other night, but there were some things that they did good. Here's my concern with Rick Barnes. Rotations and this defensive stuff. Young guys are not allowed to make mistakes. They make a couple, they're out, and won't put them back in. These veteran guys are allowed a lot longer leash. I get it. I understand it. But Justin Powell was brought in as a shooter. He was a guy who did last year at Auburn, double-digit points, rebounds, and assists. He would get a decent number of those per game as well. And now, because he's not playing the greatest defense, we're putting in Victor Bailey over him, who is not shooting well this year. Had a shot or two the other night, but missed a wide open shot at the end, and definitely doesn't play any better defense than Justin Powell. If Rick Barnes is insistent on defense, there's going to be a big change in that lineup if it's all about defense. Damn. Got to be able to score some points too. I'm taking Justin Powell over Victor Bailey every day of the week in that case. If you want to focus on defense, that means Jamon Mashack is in that game consistently. Come in, I think his he was up +3. Him and Euro, surprisingly, was +5 for the night. So those two guys in terms of plus minus, I believe we're the only ones into plus, but I don't know. And just like with Huntley Hatfield, 8 points in the first half, but then Rick Barnes says, well, he got lackadaisical with some plays. He kind of slacked on defense. You got to let these guys, especially, you know, they're going to make mistakes. It's a road atmosphere. It's Alabama. I don't like that. That's the old school in Rick Barnes. That's where I think Rick Barnes has that block. That's why I think at times, maybe, I don't know, with this team, I could see it as a block because there are veteran guys on this team allowed a lot more leash to make mistake after mistake and not get pulled. Yet a younger guy, a Powell, a Huntley Hatfield, they're out. 1 or 2 mistakes, they're out. Don't like it. I think those guys bring a lot more potential. Does Barnes evolve in what's potentially, you know, at least 3 more years, including this year, of his coaching career? Or is this going to be the Barnes? The Barnes coach now, it's going to be an NCAA tournament team. And part of me wonders, too, if some of their best basketball with this group, obviously you're going to lose Fulkerson after the year. Kennedy Chandler is going to be one and done. I feel pretty confident in that. But besides that, I'm not sure on Bailey if he has another year he could come back or not. Everybody else should be back. And then, so I don't think it'll be just that luxury of guys having that opportunity. I mean, you may have a couple guys that test the waters after this year. I know Vescovy thought about it last year. Maybe Josiah Jordan-James does. Neither one of these guys have been listed recently on mock drafts or anything. I don't see it, but who knows? Maybe you check out, see what your status is, go from there with it. But I don't know if a coach approaching 70 is going to evolve the way they. I thought he had evolved in the offseason with the way he built this roster, but now that we're seeing this team, not seeing a whole lot different. I thought it was going to be a different looking team than what it is. Now, again, I think that point guards be, and I'm not just judging this. I guess the two things I had a problem with the Alabama game was Powell and Huntley Hatfield. I mean, very frustrating. And I feel that with Chandler and Fulkerson, they win that game. What I want to see, supposedly those two guys are going to be back this week. Chandler being the alpha. And if Fulkerson, if it's Arizona Fulkerson, either one, 1A, 1B on it. But you brought in a guy like Powell to shoot. Let him shoot. I think he's your highest percentage three-point shooter on the team outside of Kamwa, but Kamwa takes less than him. Ziegler does a good job. There's some guys who, I mean, we looked at it last year, one of the flaws, point guard. I think they fixed that with Chandler and Ziegler, but low post. Maybe a little better than last year, but I still feel the evolution of Hatfield is very important. But it seems that Euros and hats off to him. He did a good job the other night, but he has his limitations. He's not the greatest defender in the world. You're basically playing 4-on-5 with him, but Barnes is insistent on him, that veteran presence in there. Again, he did some good things that night. Probably one of his better games as of all. But if Barnes is going to get to that next step, number one, they need more shooting. And when you get shooting, you better utilize it instead of all of a sudden you bring a guy in to be a shooter, but then when he gets there, you want him to be an ace defender. I don't see a lot of that shooting right now. A lot of inconsistent guys. You're one guy who's probably your best shooter. And yeah, Powell's had some moments. He's not the best defender, but that's okay. Other guys that play in his place aren't either. Let him play. Let these guys get out and play. Yeah, they're going to make mistakes, but that's part of the game. It's part of it when you're a freshman or a sophomore. You're going to make those mistakes. Yeah. Some of this team down the line, again, I think most of these guys will be back. You get a Ziegler who gets another. I mean, you got three guys on the team, one who's not playing in Tamba, but two who should still be in high school who've reclassified. I think this team's got a lot of potential moving forward. And I think maybe it's a case of next year, especially with some development from Hatfield, from Adu, Kamwa, maybe this team's best basketball is on down the line. And, maybe it is a restructure of sorts. As of right now, B.J. Edwards comes in, Kennedy Chandler, more than likely out. Where do they go from there? Are there any – there's Judah Mintz, who was a Pitt commitment. I think Tennessee's in good shape. I'm not going to say they're going to get him, but I think they're in the thick of that one. Do they hit the portal again, possibly? Add some shooting, add another body. I think you got Barnes. It is what it is. Is this a guy who's going to win a national championship or a Final Four? I wouldn't bet on it. Is he a guy who's going to have a solid program, leave a solid foundation when it's his time to go? I feel he will. I feel when the next guy takes it over, it'll be on good footing, and maybe that's somebody who can then come in and take that program to the next level. I don't think it'll be a case where we've had with previous basketball searches, nor with football searches, where the program's so bad that they're on who knows what choice number. Now, last time I think they got Barnes pretty quick. That one worked out well. But some of the searches before that, not as much. If Barnes goes in 3 years, again, I feel solid that I feel confident this program will be on solid footing. So there's going to be frustrating nights with Barnes. There's going to be nights where we're like, man, he coached a good game. There's going to be other nights where like the offense was stagnant. We're going to wonder why the rotation is what it is. It is what it is. We've seen this for almost going on 3 years now. I felt the COVID year, there were some questions on that also. I think you're getting what you're getting with him at this point. But also, one thing to keep in mind this year where you've got Fulkerson, who's been there for quite a while now. Most of these guys are younger guys. I mean, Josiah Jordan James and Vescovi's played a lot of minutes. A lot of young guys in this rotation. I'm more confident in the program a year, 2 years down the line than I am this year. I could see this being a Sweet 16 team. I could see this team getting bounced on week 1 this year, depending on which team, because we've seen it. When they go cold, they go cold. And, you know, even some nights they're overall, it's not a great shooting team. I thought it would be a better shooting team than it's been, but feel confident going forward again. The program's on solid footing. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean a national championship, but again, if you're expecting that, you're being unrealistic. We won it, yes. But based on Tennessee's history and Rick Barnes' history, the guy could coach. Yeah, he's got his flaws. Yeah, got questions. But it is what it is. So the ceiling for Rick Barnes, if he can hit an Elite 8 before he leaves Tennessee, that's big. Pearl's the only one who's done it. If Barnes could match that at least once, that's pretty good. That's going to wrap it up for me. My name's Andy Kidd, Talkin VAWLS Network. Enjoy your Sunday evening. Happy Monday. Happy New Year. Go Big Orange.